liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.
You're tapped in, so let's get right to it. So in today's society, we're hearing a lot and witnessing as well a shift that is taking place in the Black community. Some would label this shift Black resilience, all right? But Black resilience means a lot of things. We see it playing out today. We've seen it play out through history, especially for Black Americans while here in these United States. Black resilience is rarely a story of turning constraint into culture. Spirituals born in bondage, becoming the root of gospel, blues, jazz, and hip hop. Enslaved people teaching each other to read in secret. Freed people building towns, churches, and colleges within a generation of emancipation. A civil rights movement that reshaped American law and inspired liberation movements worldwide. That's not a small thing. It's one of the more remarkable stories of survival and creative power in human history, and it shows up everywhere from politics to music to science to sport. But when we're talking about Black resilience, what's missed, what's often left out is where this resilience initially comes from. And it emanates from Black women. Black women carry a particular version of that weight. They've often held families and communities together while facing the compounding effects of racism and sexism at once. Underpaid for the same work, stereotyped as either invulnerable or invisible. Less likely to be believed when they're in pain. The data on maternal mortality and pain treatment in medicine bears this out, and rarely given the protection or gentleness that's assumed for others by default. The strong Black woman image is real. It's very real, but it's also a trap. It can end up meaning her exhaustion goes unnoticed because everyone assumes she'll manage. Despite that, Black women have been disproportionately the ones building institutions, raising the next generation, leading movements. Ida B. Wells, Fannie Lou Hamer, Stacey Abrams, and setting the pace in education. They're now among the most degreed groups in the country. Where has it gotten them collectively? Real gains, political representation, a growing Black middle class, massive cultural influence, alongside real unresolved gaps in wealth, health outcomes, and how safe people feel navigating the world. The world's view is split in two. Enormous global admiration for Black art, style, thought, and resistance. Next to persistent underestimation of Black interior life, the assumption of strength instead of the offer of care. This is what we're faced with, but more poignantly, this is what Black women have to deal with every day. Now, don't get it twisted. Our Black women are our foundation. And be that so, be that as it may, Black men as well as children also go through the same trials and tribulations, the unappreciative recognition of a people who have given great sacrifice to this country, in fact, to the world. Now, based upon that, I want to share with you guys some clips that speaks to exactly what I'm talking about, that also echoes what we're hearing, especially on social media, but more so in the world, you know. That being said, let me drop these clips on you guys. Before I do, as always, please like, share, follow, comment, and subscribe to Tapped. You know, that is the art of political discourse. We appreciate your participation and viewership. So without further ado, let's get to this. I have these clips I want to share with you guys because I think they're significant. in such that what I spoke of is being spoken by others who are not from the demographic, who are not necessarily melanated people. All right. Now that being said, let's get to this. And maybe then you got to understand him. Uh-oh. Okay.
Why they're copied across the whole planet Earth.
Let's play that again.
Black people are God's chosen people. That's why they're naturally spiritual. That's why they're overlooked. That's why they're copied across the whole planet Earth.
Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure there are some of you who will contest what this woman has just said, and she's of Asian descent, obviously. The fact of the matter is that there are so many of these people who are speaking out, you know, that is kind of crazy.
Totally off. And who do you think we should turn to for wisdom on how to resist? Because there's a community in this nation that has been targeted by this empire from the beginning, and that has resisted this empire from the beginning. And that's the Black community, and particularly Black Christians. And there's a reason why they're resting right now and they're pulled back right now, because I believe the Lord is strengthening them to lead in this upcoming season. Because nobody knows the empire like targets of the empire. And nobody sings, "We shall overcome," like those who have come out of the furnace of affliction. The American.
Okay. And I have to, acknowledge him for that piece, because the fact of the matter is, yeah, there's no one who can tell any of you or share with any of you what not just the empire is and what it has done better than Black people. No one can do that. We're at a stage in society where society is starting to focus in on that, hone in on that fact. It's like the last presidential election. Blacks said, hey, don't vote for this guy. Even if you like him, even if you have the same ideology, he's not for you. He's for self and for the super rich, the powerful. No one listened. No one listened, especially those who are now calling for our aid. It wasn't by mistake that Black people said these things to other demographics, other ethnicities. We were saying this because we knew this to be the truth. No one listened. All right. But for whatever reason, we've been prepared to deal with all that we have been confronted with through time. That, for a lot of us, is the mark of, it's not just resilience. It's not just strength. For a lot of us, we know spiritually is the connection with the Creator, whoever that might be. We've been blessed with the God gene. And this is why we're still here. This is why most acknowledge if it were them or that demographic, they would have been succumbed. And that's not being said as a point of boasting or bragging. That's being said to educate you guys, to bring you in to know that, yeah, we are the chosen people. There's no other explanation for it. All right. Here's another clip. Okay. Now this clip is from a white guy. All right. It's from a white guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. His name is White George. You gotta like White George. White George is okay. Okay, this is White George.
very clearly. Black America healed my racist heart. I see more and more people who are so focused on criticizing Black America. They reject any praise of that community. So I thought I'd make a video explaining how Black America healed my racist heart and helped me learn how to forgive myself. As I've said many times before, I grew up really, really racist. I lived in a culture of prejudice and bias based on that. I was an opiate addict who committed a bunch of residential burglaries and went to prison. When I got out of prison, I paroled out to my uncle's house. And that neighborhood was 99.1% non-white. It was almost all Black and Hispanic Americans. And I didn't realize it at the time. This community was very well prepped for accepting felons back into their community. I made friends with my neighbors. I hung out with them. I helped them. They helped me. We just supported each other. And none of these people looked like me. I heard a rumor there was one other white household in that huge subdivision, but I never saw it. After I went to prison, everything changed for me. I had a few friendships that really strengthened, and I had a lot deteriorate, including my entire family. And no matter the work I do, those relationships have never been repaired. There are just people in my community who will not forgive me, and I accept that. And that makes forgiving yourself really, really hard. But the one community in this country that accepted me, that showed me mercy and grace and forgiveness, despite all my sins and flaws, they showed me it was okay to love myself. They showed me it was okay to forgive myself. They helped me understand how to forgive myself. We're our own worst critics. And only I truly know all the horrible things I've ever done in this world. And when you're
as we are our own worst enemies,
aware of it and you're conscious of it, it's a heavy weight. And many of you might not understand the power behind what I'm saying, but being forgiven and being shown compassion.
it's like, how does Black resilience spill over to other ethnicities? How are they benefits or how does it benefit them? Beneficiaries of Black resilience. What does it do for them, you know?
From a community that I used to judge, so I was so critical of. Do you know how grateful I am that I see the world so differently? The more I've learned to love and serve others, the more my life has changed. I wish more people could have the experiences that I've had, that could know all the amazing people that I know. Strangers who've shown me such kindness, and none of them look like me. When you start to feel those things, you kind of begin to realize you are worthy of love. You are worthy of loving yourself. You have value, and learning to forgive others is the easiest way to learn to forgive yourself. I know my experience is like pretty much no one else's, and I realize how lucky that I am that I get to have this experience. That's why I say Black America healed my racist heart. I want my next one.
Yeah. And that was White George. You know, you got to like the guy. So let me say, you know, when we're talking about Black resilience and how it benefits others, a lot of people tend to disregard what the sacrifices were made. Those sacrifices made by the Black community, especially here in these United States, when we're talking legally and politically. The civil rights movement, for instance, was fought and led overwhelmingly by Black Americans, but the laws it produced, they protect everyone. They protected everyone in the spectrum, okay? The Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the legal reasoning behind it became the template used to fight discrimination based on sex, disability, age, and national origin. Immigration reform in 1965 that opened the door for Asian, Latino, and African immigrants. All right, it all happened in the same political wave. Voting rights protections, workplace protections, school desegregation, case law. Other groups have leaned on precedents Black activists fought to establish. Now, culturally speaking, and this is what makes us who we are when we're talking about Black resilience, it's our culture that speaks in volumes towards that, you know? This is probably the most visible spillover are blues, jazz, gospel, rock and roll, country, hip hop. Nearly every major American musical export traces back to Black innovation, and it's been absorbed and remixed by virtually every culture on earth. Slang, fashion, dance, comedic style, even the rhythm of American English itself carries deep Black influence. Often stripped of its origin by the time it goes mainstream. However, that's a real tension a lot of us, we don't hold on to. We know what it is, all right? Enormous cultural benefit flowing outward. Black culture flowing outward, all right? Black culture supporting, providing for others where they are unable to support and provide for themselves, all right? Now, the credit of this, it's not always flowing back to us. We see a lot of this nowadays. And yet, and in spite of that, we continue to rise. We hold no ill will, animus, or disdain, disrespect, hatred for no one. I often wonder why not. We have all the reason in the world to, but that's just how we are. In labor and solidarity movements, man, Black organizing tactics, boycotts, sit-ins, nonviolent civil disobedience, mutual aid networks became a playbook other movements adopted directly. Farm workers organizing, disability rights, LGBTQ rights, anti-apartheid movements abroad. All that was able to be effective, was able to stand because of Black resilience. And all those that were just named tend to turn a blind eye to the contributions that they now stand on as their foundation. Gandhi studied Black American thought. The American movement, in turn, drew from him. It's been circular and global. And that being said, even Gandhi had a certain disdain for Blacks, Black Americans alike. But he benefited from us. So the honest shape of it, Black resilience produced tools, language, and cultural forms so fundamental that they became public goods that most of all of you find a use for. They are used by people who never had to pay the cost of creating them. That's part of why some Black thinkers push back on shared benefit framing, all right? That shared benefit framing that we are hearing a lot of people outside of the melanated persuasion, we hear this from you guys now. It can slide into extraction if the origin gets erased. All right. That's the reality for us. And this is what we see occurring all the time, not just some of the time. The appreciation for Black Americans worldwide is at an all-time low. We see this as another trial and or tribulation test from our Creator. We understand our role, most of us. We see what the end result will be. The end game is in our favor. We recognize this. We don't tout it. We don't glorify it. We don't boast about it to no one. We know what's coming. And if any of you actually knew what was good for you, you not only understand what's coming down the pipes, but you would want to be a part of it. You want to make nice, make right for the fact that there is something more powerful than mankind that supports Black Americans. You be wise. It will behoove you to get on board I got another clip. And I want to share this clip with you as well. And this clip, oddly enough, it's from a female athlete. All right. Most of you may know her, Paige Beckers. This is a speech she gave when she was receiving the EPSI Award for 2021. To this day, it's still powerful. All right, let me play this for you guys and listen to what she has to say. Have at him, Paige.
Glory to God, because I mean, this is better than I could have ever imagined. I'm just a small town kid with really big dreams, and I'm honored to show all the little kids that are watching this that dreams do come true if you work hard and you have great faith in your life. A huge shout out to my friends and my family and everybody that helped me get to be where I am today, especially my coaches and my teammates. I stand on this stage alone, but without them, I wouldn't have this award, and they've sacrificed so much for me. Okay, sorry. I just had ankle surgery. I'm out of breath, out of shape. But no, with the light that I have now, as a white woman who leads a Black-led sport and celebrated here, I want to show a light on Black women. They don't get the media coverage that they deserve. They've given so much to this sport and the community and society as a whole, and their value is undeniable. And the WNBA last season, the postseason awards, 80% of the winners were Black, but they got half the amount of coverage as the white athletes. So I think it's time for change. Sports media holds the key to storylines. Sports media and sponsors tell us who is valuable, and you have told the world that I matter today, and everyone who voted, thank you. But I think we should use this power together to also celebrate Black women. So to Maria Taylor, Robin Roberts, Maya Moore, Odyssey Alexander, to all the incredible Black women in my life, on my teams, to Breonna Taylor and all the lives lost, and to those names who have not yet learned, but I hope to share, I stand behind you, and I'll continue to follow you and follow your lead and fight for you guys. So I just want to say thank you for everything.
Now, that was powerful. That was powerful, I have to say. I mean, here is a white woman recognizing not just the ability, but the energy, you know, the love of Black women, you know, acknowledging that the treatment of Black women is subpar. You know, they are on the lowest rung of the ladder. And that is so unjust and unnecessary, you know. Black women birthed the world, you know. It's something to give credit to, you know, and she did that. And she did that in such a way that I'm pretty sure she'll be remembered for that for a very, very long time. Again, when we're talking about resilience, Black resilience, we're speaking about actually a condition that exists because of experiences. And those experiences hardened, you know, the Black American in such a way that nothing can break them. Try as you may, nothing can break Black Americans. We'll continue to rise. We'll continue to prosper. And we'll continue to be the leaders in all things. And if not in all things, we'll assist. We'll help innovate as much as we do create. But Black resilience is something that needs to be acknowledged to the extent where those who not necessarily control everything, but those who are a part of this society that makes it up, you know, these other demographics and ethnicities, need to understand the role that Black Americans play in their lives every day. Every day. All right, I got another clip for you guys. Okay. Now we're going to shift just a bit, not by much, but we're going to shift just a bit. And I think that, you know, in what I'm about to play now, it speaks to that resistance force. It speaks to the melanated people, especially the men. All right. Especially the men. So brothers, pay attention.
Black power. Say it like you mean it. Black power. Say it like you mean it. Black power.
Black power.
Now, in this hour, it requires black power. We have a moment in history where there's a deliberate and methodical attempt to strip us and call it humanity or humbling.
Well, in support of what he's saying, this is the shift that most of us recognize occurring. And I'm not just speaking of the melanated people. Also, those detractors, those haters, those racists, they understand this shift is occurring, and they are doing everything within their power to prevent it, to derail it, to detract from it. We think it's out of fear, you know, it's out of fear. Okay, what will they do to us? Should they ascend? Should they rise up? Will we get everything we gave them? That's their fear.
Us, right? Ignoring our humanity every day.
Mm-hmm.
There's an attempt to humble black people that I think we need to resist. I think we need to be very keenly aware that people who built communities like Greenwood, Rosewood, Black Wall Street, they were not in the definition of white society's humble. They were audacious black people. They were bold and endearing black people. And the question is, for this hour, are you? What are we building in this hour? So that when this is over, because we will get on the other side of this, what will remain for our people? What's your part in creating that? What is your role in ensuring that every time somebody says DEI, you make it clear that you are from Atlanta, where 60% of the people in this community are educated, college educated, to be clear. The most educated city in America is one of the blackest cities in America. One of the strongest economies in America is one of the blackest economies in America. And what we need to be clear about is that it was audacious and bold black people who decided that we are not going to allow you to determine our destiny, but we will determine it for ourselves. That is how you had Auburn Avenue. Am I right about it? So the question is, how are we going to have those stories for the next generation? If you have a Dr. Key, if you have a Ryan, who have businesses that they are developing, if you have the Acre Boys, how much more do we need to see that the brilliance of black people is enough? The real question for us in this hour is not, what are they gonna do? We see this playbook every time. This is the third reconstruction of America. This is. And so while they try to ostracize and tell us to be humble, the same thing they pulled on our brother Shador Sanders by making him wait in the draft, trying to tell him that you can't be bold and audacious. When you see young black men and young black women, don't stifle them, big up them. Tell them that this is their hour. And the question again remains, what are you gonna do in this hour?
Okay. What are you going to do in this hour? You know, again, we're talking about a shift that is occurring in the world. The world over, this shift is actually taking place. Black people, what are you going to do in this hour? We don't have to be upset with anyone in terms of how they are reacting to our energy, you know, or blackness. We can't change that. We're fine with it. That's something they're going to have to deal with. And while they deal with that, we don't have to stop and waste time trying to figure out what conclusion they're going to come to. No, that's that part of the distraction we don't need. We need to focus. What are we going to do in this hour? How are we going to further sustain ourselves, elevate ourselves, empower ourselves, and love ourselves to the point where none of that matters? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Black resilience is something that you can't buy, and the only way to have it is to be Black, especially Black American. Without that, you're just, someone on the sidelines, someone on the sidelines who should use this opportunity to observe, to learn, comprehend, understand, accept. Black resilience is something that no one can do away with. You can't kill it. You can't humble it. You can't make it go away. And for all of you brothers and sisters who are out there thinking that there's nothing left, this thing is getting harder and harder to bear, just remember everyone and everything that came before you. And try to imagine what they thought as they were going through what they were going through. And I have to add that back then, as compared to now, was way worse. They made it happen. What's our excuse? We're in that hour. What will you do? What will you do, Black people? Let's show that our resilience is strong as ever. Hasn't went anywhere. Let's show that we accept that we have the God gene, that we are the Creator's chosen. Be mindful of that. Nothing else. And the way will be made for you. I like to put it like that. All right. Now, for those of you who have an opinion as to what I've said or what this content is all about, please, by all means, put those thoughts and those opinions in the comments. Let us know exactly how you see this situation. Do you even agree? Pretty sure some of you won't. Probably never will. But for those of you who agree, who see what's happening, who is tuned in to the frequency and the vibration of Black resilience, the Black spirit and energy, by all means, tap in. Let us know where you stand on this issue. Until next time, take care of yourselves and one another.
You can murder a liberator, but you can't murder liberation. You can murder a revolutionary, but you can't murder revolution. And you can murder a freedom fighter, but you can't murder freedom.